All right, guys, we want to say shalom. We the Hebrew Israelites. We come weeks in and weeks out to prophesy the downfall of America in season and out of season. All right. We give double honors to the elders, salutations to the brothers that's preaching and teaching this truth in sincerity, edifying the lost sheep, which are you blacks, Hispanics, Latinos, and Native Americans throughout the four corners of the earth. And last but not least, we give all praises and glorification and due honor to Yahweh, by Hashem, Yahweh Shai. This is another epic lesson concerning Solid Foundation Israelite Academy. All right, so let's get it in, guys.
First John 3 and 4, when you say the commandments are done away, how you rejecting the law, but still passing around the collection plate? How the hell you live in the mansion when all of your members are living on Section 8? Get caught in the web like Safari, run up on Sakari, you know you gon' get a slice. I'll go to Romans chapter 4 and 1, it'll prove that the Romans are Israelites. Niggas be marrying white women.
Who got next? Who got next?
We got next.
For how long?
Forever.
For how long?
Forever.
What we gonna do?
Take the kingdom.
What we gonna do?
Take the kingdom.
When?
Now.
When?
Now.
How?
Yahweh Shem Yahshua.
How?
Yahweh Shem Yahshua.
How?
Yahweh Shem Yahshua.
All right. So once again, we the Hebrew Israelites. We come weeks in and weeks out to prophesy the downfall of America. Okay, guys? Concerning you blacks, Hispanics, Latinos, and Native Americans. We don't have time because the end is near. So we're going to give you what you need in order to be saved in these end times. All right? We don't have long. Blacks, Hispanics, Latinos, and Native Americans once again. We out here to compel you to come back to these laws, statutes, and commandments through the spirit and power of Yahweh, by Hashem Yahweh Shai, who the world calls God, and Jesus Christ, man. So without further ado, we're going straight into the scriptures and break down what's necessary, all right? To my left-hand side, this is Brother Jeremiah Judah Israel. He would be the reader on today. And also I have my younger son with me on the far left, Roswin Judah Israel. And we out here just to wake up our people, so let's get it.
Nehemiah chapter 5 and verse 9.
Read.
Also I said, it is not good that ye do. Ought ye not to walk in the fear of our God because of the reproach of the heathen to our enemies?
So Nehemiah 5 and 9, you know what I'm saying? It tells you in Nehemiah 5 and 9 that we have enemies. And these enemies are the heathen. You see what I'm saying? Now who are the heathens? The Edomites, which are the so-called white man. You understand? You have the Elamites, which are the East Indians. The Asherites, which are the Assyrians. The Aramites, which are the Ishmaelites, man. I mean the Aramites, which are the Syrians. Then you have the Ishmaelites, which are the Arabs. The Moabites, which are the Chinese. Ammonites, which are the Japanese. The Cushites, which are the Ethiopians. Mizramites, which are the Egyptians. Putites, which are the North Africans. The Canaanites, which are the South Africans. The Gomamites, which are the Turkish people. The Magamites, which are the Russians. Javanites, which are Greeks. Ashkenazes, which are these Germans, you understand? Tarshish, which are the Spaniards. Kittites, which are Rome. So I just gave you a rundown on our enemies, which are the heathen. You understand? You, blacks, Hispanics, Latinos, and Native Americans, you are the 12 lost tribes of Israel. You understand? So we have enemies out here. Now, I want you to give me Deuteronomy 28:48.
Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse 48. Therefore shalt thou serve thine enemies.
The Most High told the Israelites that they was going to serve their enemies. He said, therefore shalt thou serve thy enemies. The Most High tells the nation of Israel that they was going to serve their enemies. Deuteronomy 28:48. Read on.
Therefore shalt thou serve thine enemies, which the Lord shall send against thee.
Which the Heavenly Father sent against the nation of Israel. So he sent enemies in on the nation of Israel for the Israelites not keeping his commandments. So when you look around you and you see these various nations, you understand? Those are your enemies that the Most High sent in on you for not keeping the commandments. You look around you, you see these white people and Chinese and Japanese people, Arabs, East Indians. These are your enemies that the Most High sent in on you as the nation of Israel. If you don't know that you're an Israelite, you're not going to know that you're surrounded by enemies. In order for you to know and identify your enemies, you must first know blacks, Hispanics, Latinos, and Native Americans, your nationality as an Israelite. So in Deuteronomy 28:48, it says in the scriptures, it says that, therefore shalt thou serve thy enemies. The Most High told the Israelites that they was going to serve their enemies, which he shall send against them, and hunger, and thirst, and nakedness, and the want of all things. And it says that our enemies shall put a yoke of iron upon thy neck until he have destroyed us. You understand? And that happened to the blacks, Hispanics, Latinos, and Native Americans. That happened to us, man. We were the ones that was placed with the yokes of iron around our necks. You understand? The shackles on our wrists and ankles. That happened to the blacks, Hispanics, Latinos, and Native Americans. You can call that slavery, for lack of a better term, man. You understand? That's slavery. That happened to the blacks, Hispanics, Latinos, and Native Americans because they revolted on the Most High law, statutes, and the commandments. So we was put under the conditions to serve our enemies for the violation of breaking God's commandments. That happened to the Israelites. That happened to us, the people of Negroid, Native American, Indian descent. That happened to us, man. You understand? We was going to serve. We was going to become servants. You see what I'm saying? We was going to become servants for breaking these commandments of the Most High God. You see what I'm saying, guys? Now, give me Luke 1:68.
Luke chapter 1 and verse 68. Blessed be the Lord God of Israel.
Blessed be the Lord God of who?
Of Israel.
Blessed be the Lord God of Israel, which is you blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. The Lord is your God. Blessed be the God of Israel. Luke 1:68. Read on.
For he hath visited and redeemed his people.
See, for he visited and redeemed his people. Now, who are the people of the Lord? Who are the people of the Most High? Who are the people of the God of Israel? The Israelites. And it says he has what?
It says, for he hath visited and redeemed his people.
He hath visited and redeemed his people. In the way that he redeemed his people through who you call Jesus Christ, who we know as Hamashiach, Yahushua. That's how he redeemed his people. He redeemed his people by the shedding of the blood of the Messiah, man. Read on Luke chapter 1 verse 69.
Luke chapter 1 and verse 69. And have raised up an horn of salvation.
He raised up a horn of salvation, which is Jesus Christ, Yahushua. Go ahead.
For us in the house of his servant.
For us. The us is talking about the Israelites. He raised up a horn of salvation for us in the house of his servant, David, man. You see what I'm saying? So basically, he sent a savior to the nation of Israel to redeem us from bondage and captivity. You know what I'm saying? Because we was always oppressed by these heathens, which are our enemies, for the violation of the Most High commandments. So in Luke chapter 1, verse 69, it says he raised up a horn of salvation for us in the house of his servant David. All right, let's continue on. Luke chapter 1, verse 70. Go ahead, Op.
Luke chapter 1 and verse 70. As he spake by the mouth of his holy prophets, which have been since the world began.
And all the holy prophets was Israelites. All the holy prophets were Israelites. I don't care what book, chapter, or verse that you're reading from in the Bible, is all dealing with the Israelite nation. From Genesis to Revelation is dealing with the Israelite nations. The Bible is a historical booklet that deals with the Israelite nation. You understand? And he spoke by the mouth of his holy prophets to the appointed children, the nation of Israel. Luke chapter 1 verse 71. Read on.
Luke chapter 1 and verse 71. That we should be saved from our enemies.
That we should be saved from our enemies. Go ahead.
and from the hand of all that hate us.
So the only people that's being saved in the Bible are the Israelites. And why? Because we need salvation from the hands of our enemies. You understand? We need to be deliberated. You know, we need to be emancipated. You feel me? We need that deliverance and salvation because we have been in the land of our enemies for over 400 some odd years serving, man. You understand? Okay. Luke chapter 1 verse 71, that we should be saved from our enemies and from the hand of all that hate us. See that? So Israel, we need that salvation because we need to be saved from the enemies. And it says in Luke 1 and 71 that from the hand of all that hate us. Now, who hate us? Go to Psalms 83. We're going to show you in Psalms 83 the nations that conspired against us, the nations that hate us.
Psalms chapter 83 and verse 1.
Come.
Keep not thy silence, O God.
This is what Asaph said. Psalms 83 verse 1. Keep not thy silence, O God. Continue on up.
Hold not thy peace.
He says, hold not thy peace. Continue on.
And be not still, O God.
Be not still. Because see, Asaph, he demanded justice, man. Asaph wanted justice for his people because he seen how the heathens, which are our enemies, was treating his people. So he tells the Most High, you know, get up and do something about this situation, man. Read on up.
It says Psalms chapter 83 and verse 2. For lo, thine enemies make a tumult, and they that hate thee have lifted up the head.
See, our enemies make a tumult against us, and they hated us, man. You understand? That's in the book of Psalms chapter 83 verse 2. It says our enemy make a tumult, and they hate us. They hate us. But they've been lied to. They've been lied to by these elite groups that runs the United States of America. They've been lied to by these elite groups that runs the United States of America, and they've been lied to believe that they've been lied to believe that they are us. You understand? So they don't basically know that, you know, these heathen nations today, the so-called white man, Chinese, you understand, Japanese, Africans, Arabs, East Indians, these people of today, they don't know their real agenda. They don't know where they fit in with the Bible because they've been lied to by these elite groups. But once they figure out where they fit in with the Bible, they're going to come to know that the only thing that their relatives have ever did was to hate us as a nation of people. They just was lied to. The elites, basically the elites lied to all the nations to get them to believe that they had part of the Bible. So basically they can think that they are us and had us believing that we are them. But now all the other nations, basically they are finding out who they are according to the Bible, and they finding out that, you know, all these other nations outside of Israel, they're finding out like, damn, man, we are the enemies of the Israelites. You understand? So read on up.
Psalms chapter 83 and verse 3. They have taken crafty counsel against thy people.
They have taken crafty counsel against our people. You understand? They took crafty counsel against the Israelites. All these nations, the white man, the Edomites that the Bible speaks of. You understand? The East Indians, the Arabs, all these other nations, man. They did what?
It says, they have taken crafty counsel against thy people.
They took crafty counsel against the Israelites, which are the blacks, Hispanics, Latinos, and Native Americans. Read on.
And have consulted against thy hidden ones.
And they consulted against the lost 12 tribes of Israel. That's why I said hidden ones. Because we are known as the lost 12 tribes of Israel, and they consulted against us, man. They took crafty counsel. They thought of secret ways to cut us off from being a nation, man. By giving us all these lies and things. They thought of secret ways to cut us off from being a peculiar people and a holy people. They never loved us, never will. You understand? They just been lied to again. They've been lied to by these elite group families. They've been lied to, you know, to believe that they play part of this Bible. That's the only reason they not really playing their true positions. That's the only reason why the white man is not really fully unleashed on us as a nation, as the Edomites. Because they've been lied to believe that they are the people of this book, and all the other nations have been lied to believe that they have, an opportunity of salvation. They've been lied to, but once they figure out that they don't have, no opportunity of salvation, once they figure out that they are not the Israelites, all these other nations figure out that they don't have nothing to do with this Bible, you're going to see them for who they truly are. This is why you can look around today and you don't really see the nations, acting. They don't really act there in their original manner anymore. You understand? Like the Elamites, they hated us. The Elamites are the East Indians today. Like the Moabites, which are the Chinese, the Japanites, which are the Moabites, which are the Chinese, the Ammonites, which are the Japanese. They hated us in the Bible, man. Even the Moabite king tried to get Balaam to curse Israel. You understand? These people always hated us in the Bible. You see what I'm saying? But today they don't have no idea who they are. These, just like we're lost, just like the Israelite nation. A lot of you blacks, Hispanics, Latinos, and Native Americans, you don't know you the Israelites. A lot of these heathen nations don't know who they are. They don't know their ancient biblical names today. A lot of white people don't know they're the Edomites of the Bible. Because this devil that runs this, the devil that runs this world, you understand? These elite group families, these secret society families, they lie to all of us, you understand? And so now all the other nations out here, outside of Israel, they don't even know who they are. The Chinese don't even know they're the ancient Moabites. They've been lied to as well. A lot of Africans don't even know they're the Hamites. They've been lied to. But once everybody find out who they truly are, according to this Bible, that's when you're going to see these nations, they really don't give a damn about us. You see what I'm saying? Read on with Psalms 83. What verse you left off on?
Psalms chapter 83 and verse 4. They have said, "Come and let us cut them off from being a nation."
They said, "Come and let us cut the Israelites off from being a nation." Let's change up their biblical names. Let's change up their national native names. Let's change their history up. That's how they thought of ways to cut us off from being a nation. Psalms 83 and 4. They have said, "Come and let us cut them off from being a nation." Because they know if they can cut us off from being a nation, then they knew that we would lose the power that the Most High had given us. So they said, "Come and let us cut them off from being a nation, man." Let's think of ways to make them break the commandments. That's what you white people, which are you Edomites, you Japanese people, which are the Ammonites, you Moabites, which are the Chinese, you Hamites, which are the Africans, you Arabs, which are the Ishmaelites, you East Indians, which are the Elamites, you Asherites, which are the Assyrians, you Aramites, which are the Syrians, all you other nations, man. You thought of ways to cut us off from being a nation, man. You the one that got together and thought of ways to cut us off from keeping the commandments, thought of ways to cut us off from the Most High, our God, and our Savior, Yahweh Shai. You thought of these ways to cut us off because you knew if you didn't come together and conspire against us and think of ways to cut us off, we would have forever remained on the top and you would have been up under our feet. So you know what you did? You thought of ways to cut us off from being a nation. You thought of ways to detour us from the Most High God. That's what you did, man. Read on up.
Psalms chapter 83 and verse 4. That the name of Israel may be in no more remembrance.
Because they want to put the name of Israel out of remembrance. They don't want you to know, blacks, Hispanics, Latinos, and Native Americans, that you are the Israelites. The white man don't want you to know that, and the rest of these other heathen nations don't want you to know that you are the children of Israel that the Bible speaks of. You are the lost 12 tribes, the sons and daughters of Jacob. They don't want you to know that, so they try to put the name of Israel out of remembrance. Now they got you talking about you a bunch of black people and niggas and Hispanics and Spics and Native Americans today. Got you people believing that you're actually that, when the Bible says that you are the Israelites. They cut you off from that name because they wanted to cut you off from your power, man. So this is Judith chapter 5 verse 20. in the Apocrypha. Read on.
Judith chapter 5 and verse 20. Now therefore, my Lord and Governor, if there be any error in his people, and they shall sin against their God, let us consider that this shall be their ruin, and let us go up, and we shall overcome them.
So that's what the heathens was talking about. The heathens, all they was doing, basically, this is Judith, the book of Judith in the Apocrypha, chapter 5, beginning with verse 20. The heathen said that, if there be any error in the nation of Israel, you know what I'm saying, and if they sin against their God, then they said, well, let us consider, then this shall be their ruin, and let us go up, and we shall overcome them. So the heathens, the white man, which are the Edomites, the Chinese, which are the Moabites, the Japanese, which are the Ammonites, the Hamites, which are the Africans, all these other heathen nations, they had to think of ways to make us go off. They said, all we got to do is get them to break the commandments. If we can get them to break the commandments, man, we in the game. All we got to do is get them Israelites to break the commandments, to go against their God. All we got to do is get them Israelites to break the commandments. Let's see if we can get some Israelites to eat pork. Let's see if we can get some Israelites to eat shrimp, crab, and lobster. Let's see if we can get some Israelites to break the Sabbath. Let's see if we can get the Israelites to break their feast days. Let's see if we can get the Israelites to turn against each other, to not operate in the civil law and not love one another. But let's see, can we get the Israelites to fight amongst each other? Let's see if we can get the Israelites to do all these things. The heathens, they came together and thought of ways to cut the Israelites off from keeping the commandments. And this is Judith chapter 5 verse 20. That's what exactly it says. Now give me Judith chapter 5 verse 21. Judith chapter 5 verse 21.
Judith chapter 5 and verse 21. But if there be no iniquity in their nation, let my Lord now pass by, lest their Lord defend them and their God before them, and we become a reproach before all the world.
So this is Judith chapter 5 verse 21. It says, but if there be no iniquity in their nation. These heathens knew if there was no iniquity in our nation. It says, if there be no iniquity in their nation, it says, let my Lord now pass by, lest the Lord defend them and their God before them, and we become a reproach to the world. See, so these heathens knew if we kept the commandments. This is Judith 5 and 21 in the Apocrypha. These heathens knew that if we kept the commandments, you understand, that they would be a reproach before us. These heathens knew if we kept these commandments, that it was game over with for them, man. So they had conspired against us, as we showed you in Psalms 83. Now, they conspired against us in Psalms 83. Let's go back to Psalms 83. Go back to Psalms 83 in the Bible.
Psalms chapter 83 and verse 5. For they have consulted together with one consent. They are confederate against thee.
They have consulted together with one consent. These heathens, they came together. They consulted together with one consent. These heathens, they consulted together with one consent. They came together, man. And they agreed on taking us down. They agreed on taking us down. Read on up.
It says, for they have consulted together with one consent. They are confederate against thee.
Now, it's going to list the heathen nations that did this. So it's going to give you a list of the heathen nations that did this. So let's see who came together to cut us off from being a nation. Let's see who came to try to put the name of Israel out of remembrance. Let's see who came and consulted together with one consent and who is confederate against the Israelites. And let's see who did these things. Psalms 83 verse 6. Read up.
Psalms chapter 83 and verse 6. The tabernacles of Edom.
The tabernacles of Edom. Edom is the so-called white man today. You Edomites. So you white people came against us to cut us off from being a nation. Go ahead.
And the Ishmaelites.
You Arabs, that's the Ishmaelites. You Arabs came together to cut us off. Go ahead.
Of Moab and the Hagarenes.
Moab is the Chinese people today, and the Hagarenes, which are Africans. So Moab being the Chinese, Hagarenes being the Africans, you came together to cut us off. Continue on. Psalm 83 verse 7.
Psalms chapter 83 and verse 7. Gebal and Ammon.
Gebal and Ammon, Africans is Gebal, and Ammon is the Japanese of today. So there go some more Africans and Japanese people that came together to cut the blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans off, the Israelites, from being a nation. Read on.
And Amalek.
Amalek. Who is Amalek? Goes back to the so-called white man, which are the Edomites. The Amalekites today in Palestine, Israel. Those converts, those fake Jews who want to be us. They came to cut us off from being a nation. That's it. Read on. Psalm 83, verse 8. No, continue. Psalm 83, verse 7.
Verse 7. The Philistines with the inhabitants of Tyre.
Africans, once again. Go ahead.
And verse 8. Ashur also is joined with them.
Ashur is the Assyrians today. They cut us off from being a nation. Go ahead.
They have hope in the children of Lot.
The children of Lot goes back to the Chinese and the Japanese, which are Moabites and Ammonites. Those are the children of Lot, Chinese and Japanese. You see what I'm saying? So they got together to cut us off from being a nation. You see what I'm saying, guys? So it tells you in Psalms 83, the heathens that came together, which are our enemies, to conspire to cut us off, man. Now, they knew, like I said, if we broke the commandments of God, they knew that if they got us to break the commandments, then they knew that they would gain power and control over us. Now, go to Deuteronomy.
Deuteronomy chapter 32 and verse 27. Were it not that I feared the wrath of the enemy, lest their adversaries should behave themselves strangely.
Because our adversaries, which are our enemies, they behave themselves strangely. You understand? By taking us captives. Read on.
And lest they should say, our hand is high.
Least they should say our hand is high. Go ahead.
And the Lord have not done all this.
See that? So these heathens knew that if they can get us to break the commandments, they knew that they would gain power and control over us as the chosen seed. Y'all need to pay attention, man. I'm not going to tell y'all again. This is Deuteronomy chapter 32, verse 27. That's what we just read. They knew, man. They said, it says, were it not that I feared the wrath of the enemy, lest their adversaries should behave themselves strangely, and lest they should say our hand is high. And the Lord have not done all this. You see what I'm saying? Now give me Jeremiah chapter 50, verse 7. These heathens knew that the Most High had given them power. Like these white people when they conquered these Native Americans. These European settlers, when they conquered the Native Americans, they knew that the Most High had given them power. The European settlers, when they conquered the Boricua Taino Indians, you know, Christopher Columbus and his men, you know, basically the colonization of the indigenous people by the European settlers. They knew that the Most High had given them power. And even when they conquered us, you so-called Negroes, which are the real Jews, they knew that the Most High had given them power. When they was rounding us up, putting us on those slave ships, shipping us across the Atlantic, selling us for merchandise, they knew that the Most High had given them power, man. Taking our women as spoils, castrating our men, selling our sons and daughters. All these things that the European settlers was doing to us as a nation, they knew. The white man knew damn well the Most High had given him the power because he knew that we had stepped aside and strayed away from the commandments. That's the only way that we ever became slaves and servants under the white man. That's the only way you blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans became servants to the white man. You broke the commandments. Give me Jeremiah chapter 50, verse 7. Read that.
Jeremiah chapter 50 and verse 7.
Uh-huh.
All that found them have devoured them.
All that found us as a nation have devoured us. He's talking about these heathen nations. Talking about these Edomites. You so-called white people. He's talking about the Chinese. Which are you Moabites. And the rest of the heathens. You Hamites, but you Africans. Jeremiah 50, verse 7. It says, all that found them have devoured them. How did they devour us? They devoured us by putting us in chains. They devoured us by putting us in slavery. That's how they devoured the blacks, Hispanics, Latinos, and Native Americans. They devoured you by putting you in chains, making you servants, making you slaves under their rulership and their power. Jeremiah 50 and verse 7. Come on.
In their Jeremiah chapter 50 and verse 7. And their adversary said, we offend not.
See, their adversary said, we offend not. What does that mean? See that? Their adversary said, we offend not. What does that mean? Because our adversaries that did this to us, they don't think they did any wrong. They don't think that they don't think that they did any wrong for putting us in slavery, for putting the blacks, Hispanics, Latinos, and Native Americans in slavery. They don't think they did any wrong. They mistreated us, they despitefully used us, but they don't think they did any wrong. The white man don't think he did any wrong. And the rest of you heathen nations, they don't think they did any wrong for them doing that to us. They say, we don't see what we did wrong for lynching black people and raping and robbing them. Along as the Hispanics, like they did the same thing to the Native Americans and the rest of the Hispanic tribes. They say we don't think we did anything wrong for that because they knew we broke the commandments and the Most High had appointed them to punish us. Read on, Op.
Jeremiah chapter 50 and verse 7. And their adversary said, we offend not, because they have sinned against the Lord, the habitation of justice, even the Lord, the hope of their fathers.
See that? So they said that we offend not. It ain't nothing we doing wrong because you Israelites, you have sinned against your Lord. So don't blame us for putting you in chains. This is what the white man telling us. Don't blame us for putting you guys in shackles. Don't blame us for putting you in chattel slavery. Don't blame us for putting you Negroes out in the cotton field. You Native Americans, don't blame us for we making you slave. Don't blame us. You are the reason why you've been put in slavery. That's what the white man is telling the Israelites. That's what the Edomites are telling the Israelites. They saying that we are the reason this happened to us. Because they said that we didn't keep no commandments. You know what I'm saying? So basically, what they saying is you can't blame us for the things that we did to y'all because y'all broke the commandments. God just set us up to punish y'all for breaking the commandments. So you can't necessarily blame us for the unspeakable atrocities that we carry out on the nation of Israel because we offend not. We only doing what the Heavenly Father has allowed us to do to you guys. You see what I'm saying? And so when we broke the law, statutes, and the commandments, the Most High appointed these nations to punish us. And they knew it. That's why they was having a ball with the blacks, Hispanics, Latinos, and Native Americans. Man, they raped our women like never before. Lynched us like never before. Burned us alive. Call us proverbs and bywords, call us niggas, and call us all different type of derogatory terms. You understand? Mistreated us, miseducated us. Tore us all apart, man. Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. Tore us all apart. Because they felt like they was doing no wrong. Because they felt like that God had given them permission to do that to us because we violated the commandments. That's why in Jeremiah chapter 50 verse 7, the heathen says they offend not. See what I'm saying? Because they know this Bible. You see what I'm saying? I'm going to show you many other things. Now, so we can see, we showed you in Jeremiah the 50th chapter, verse 7, that the heathen said that we are not wrong for what we did to Israel, because if you Israelites would have kept the commandments, this wouldn't never happen to y'all. And that's true. Even though we are hot and we are mad with these heathens, man, we pissed off at this white man, these Edomites, you understand? And the rest of these heathens. But like I said, they said, we didn't do no wrong to you guys. You the one that broke the commandments, and that's true. Give me Deuteronomy 28:15, huh?
Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse 15. But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God.
So the Most High tells the Israelites, look, if you will not hearken to my voice, this is what's going to happen to you guys. Read on.
Of the Lord thy God, to observe to do all his commandments.
You don't want to keep my commandments, this is what's going to happen to you guys. Read on.
And his statutes, which I...
You don't want to keep my statutes, this is what's going to happen to you guys. Deuteronomy 28:15.
Which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee.
The Most High tells the Israelites, if they did not obey his voice, if they did not keep the commandments, he said all these curses was going to come upon us and they was going to take us down. Now, those curses that came upon us are actually the heathens. Those curses that came upon us are actually the heathens, man. The Gentiles. Those are the curses that came upon us. They are the actual heathen. So when the Bible speaks of curses coming on the Israelites, that was the heathen that the Most High sent in on the Israelites, man. Why did he send a man? Because we was very disobedient and we wasn't listening to the covenants. We didn't want to keep the commandments. The Most High told us the consequences for disobeying and breaking the commandments. But we thought it wouldn't happen to us. So as a result of today, you're looking at what happened to us for not keeping the commandments. Give me Zechariah 11 verse 5. Read that out.
Zechariah chapter 11 and verse 5. Whose possessors slay them.
Whose possessors? Who is the possessors? The possessors is your oppressors. The possessors is your slave masters, blacks, Hispanics, Native Americans. Whose possessors do what?
Slay them and hold themselves not guilty.
This is Zechariah 11 verse 5. So you can see right there it says, whose possessors slay them and they hold themselves not guilty. They say we not wrong for what we did. Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, we are pissed off because we are suffering the curses, but the other nations are telling us that they are not wrong for what they did to us. We're not wrong for what we did. The Most High used us. The other nations are telling us, the other nations are telling the Israelites that the Most High used us as punishing devices for you guys. We are the belt of the Most High. We are the rod of the Most High. We are the switch. The Most High chose us to bring y'all down. So we're not wrong for what we did. We don't feel any guilt for what we did. Zechariah 11 and 5. It says, whose possessors slay them and hold themselves not guilty. Read on.
And they that sell them say, blessed be the Lord, for I am rich.
And they that sell them say, they sold us for slaves. And while they were selling us, they was rejoicing over us. Now, why was they doing this? Because they knew that we broke the commandments. We was those chosen people. We broke the commandments, and guess what? While they were selling us, they said what?
Blessed be the Lord, for I am rich. Wait. Zechariah chapter 11 and verse 5, whose possessors slay them and hold themselves not guilty. And they that sell them say, Blessed be the Lord, for I am rich. And their own shepherds pity them not.
See, and they said our shepherd, which is Christ, Yahweh Shem Yahushai, the Heavenly Father in Christ, they said our shepherds didn't have no pity on us, man, because they knew that when we broke these commandments, the Most High let the cage up. The Most High let the wolves on the sheep. You understand? He let the wolves tear apart the sheep, man. So who possess us, slay them, and they hold themselves not guilty. They said, we ain't wrong what we did. You niggas should have kept the commandments. Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. You should have walked with God. You start walking with God. So guess what? God let them gorillas out the cage and they came and got y'all. You see what I'm saying? Job, give me Job.
Job chapter 4 and verse 7. Remember, I pray thee, whoever perished being innocent.
Job said, now show me one man, woman, child, boy, girl on this earth that ever perished without being innocent. This is Job chapter 4 verse 7. He says, whoever perished without being innocent. No one is innocent. You blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, you is guilty as charged because you broke these commandments. So the Most High said, you know what? If you do perish, you're going to perish. You're going to perish because you broke the commandments. You're not going to perish because you're innocent. You're going to perish because you broke the commandments. How did he allow us to perish? By sending the heathen in on us. And I'm going to show you this. This is Job chapter 4, verse 7. Whoever perished being innocent, or where were the righteous cut off? Ain't nobody perishing being innocent. Because we all guilty, blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, of breaking these commandments. And when the Most High sent them heathens in on us to rape, rob, and murder us, guess what? The possessors that slayed us, they hold themselves not guilty. And they also said, like Jeremiah chapter 50, verse 7, they said, we offend not. We not wrong for what we doing to you blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. You Negroes should have kept the commandments. You understand? But we didn't keep the commandments, y'all. So we can't get too mad at the heathen. We can't get too mad at the enemy. We got to realize that we broke the commandments. Give me Ezekiel 39. All right, bring that out.
Ezekiel chapter 39 and verse 22. So the house of Israel shall know that I am the Lord their God from that day and forward. Ezekiel chapter 39 and verse 23. And the heathen shall know that the house of Israel went into captivity.
See, the heathen know about this. The heathen gonna know exactly why the house of Israel, you blacks, Hispanics, Latinos, and Native Americans, it says that the heathen, the white man, and the rest of these heathen nations gonna know exactly why you went into captivity. You know, it's not strange to them. It's not a mystery to them. You understand? They know exactly why blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans went into captivity. This is what it's talking about. Ezekiel chapter 30, Ezekiel 39 verse, where you at?
Ezekiel chapter 39 verse 23.
Ezekiel 39 verse 23. Read that.
Ezekiel chapter 39 and verse 23. And the heathen shall know that the house of Israel went into captivity for their iniquity.
See? So these heathens know exactly why you got chains put on your neck, why you got chains on your wrists, why you got chains on your ankles, why you was made servants under chattel slavery, why you was raped, robbed, and why you was murdered. You blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, you suffer slavery like never before. And these heathens know exactly why you going through that, man. They know this. You the ones that don't know. You in captivity. You suffering. You going through hell. You in captivity, and you don't have no idea why the white man keep beating your brains out. You don't have no idea why the white man keep oppressing you. These Edomites. You don't have no idea why you being oppressed by these Edomites. But they know. Read on up.
Ezekiel chapter 39 and verse 23.
It says, because the house of Israel went into captivity for their iniquity, because they trespassed against me. Therefore I hid my face from them, and I gave them into the hand of their enemies. So fell they all by the sword. So the Heavenly Father delivered the children of Israel into the hand of their enemies because they did not keep the laws, statutes, and the commandments. The Most High told us, if we didn't keep these commandments, man, He told us if we didn't keep these commandments, He was going to let the heathen loose on us. And that's exactly what He did. He let the cage up, and He let these wolves out on these sheep. And they've been tearing us apart ever since. Go to the Apocrypha. Give me Esther chapter 14. You got to know who you are. And you got to know who you are to realize you've been oppressed. If you don't know who you are, you're not going to know why you've been oppressed. Once you find out who you are, you're going to know exactly why you've been oppressed. Because the chosen seed has always been oppressed by Gentile nations in the Bible. From Egypt to America, man. You understand? This is Esther chapter 14, verse 5. Read.
Esther chapter 14 and verse 5. From my youth up, I have heard in the tribe of my family that thou, O Lord, tookest Israel from among all people, and our fathers from all their
predecessors
from a perpetual inheritance, and thou hast performed whatsoever thou didst promise unto them.
So Esther, this is in the Apocrypha. Esther chapter 14 verse 5. Esther is just going back into the history how the Most High, He elected the nation of Israel as His peculiar holy people, man. He served us from all the other nations. This is Esther chapter 14 verse 6 in the Apocrypha.
Esther chapter 14 and verse 6. And now we have sinned before thee. Therefore hast thou given us into the hand of our enemies.
See, Esther said that the Israelites had sinned against the God of Israel. And as a result of the Israelites sinning against the holy God of Israel, Esther said that He literally gave them into the hand of their enemies. So don't think our enemies don't know exactly why we was given into their hands. They know this. They know exactly, man, why we was given into their hands. We was given into their hands because we violated the commandments of God. This is Esther chapter 14 verse 7. Read in the Apocrypha.
Esther chapter 14 and verse 7. Because we worship their gods.
Because we worship their gods, the Israelites followed after these idols of these heathens. Read on.
O Lord, thou art righteous.
See that? We went after these pagan gods of the heathen. So as a result, the Most High gave us into the hand of the enemy. Read on. I think that's pretty much it. Esther chapter 14. Yeah, you can stop right there, Op. You can stop right there, man. Okay, give me Baruch chapter 4 in the Apocrypha. Baruch chapter 4 and give me verse 12 in the Apocrypha.
Baruch chapter 4 and verse 12. Let no man rejoice over me, a widow and forsaken of many, who for the sins of my children am left desolate, because they departed from the law of God.
What did Baruch say the Israelites did?
Baruch chapter 4 and verse 12. Let no man rejoice over me, a widow and forsaken of many, who for the sins of my children am left desolate, because they departed from the law of God.
Baruch say, you Israelites, you departed from the law of God. That is Baruch chapter 4 verse 12. He said the Israelite nation departed from the laws of God. And when you did that, the Most High let the wolves out on you blacks, Hispanics, Latinos, and Native Americans to devour you in your captivity, man. See. All right? So basically, the blacks, Hispanics, Latinos, and Native Americans are the descendants of Jacob, man, whether you chose to believe it or not. And we was brought into captivity for our iniquities. We showed you many book, chapter, and verses in the Bible. We showed you many references, man. We showed you basically what happened to the nation of Israel for their rejection of the laws, them not being obedient to the Heavenly Father, okay? Now, give me Baruch chapter 4, verse 6 in the Apocrypha. Still in the Apocrypha. Baruch chapter 4, verse 6. Read that.
Baruch chapter 4 and verse 6. Ye were sold to the nations, not for your destruction, but because ye moved God to wrath.
So the Most High sold us to the nations. This is Baruch chapter 4, verse 6. It says that the Heavenly Father sold us to the nations. He did the selling. He sold us because we was disobedient, man. The Heavenly Father sold us to the nations. These nations was just waiting to receive us. They already had their hands out. Like, we can't wait to get our hands on those Israelites. The Most High already had these heathen nations on reserve. He had them with chains, whips, belts, shackles, prison systems. He had the cotton fields ready. He had the tobacco fields and every other thing you can think about in terms of slavery. He had them on reserve. He already had these heathens lined up against us because he knew that we was going to break these commandments. In the Apocrypha, once again, Baruch chapter 4, verse 6.
Baruch chapter 4 and verse 6. Ye were sold to the nations, not for your destruction.
You wasn't sold to the nations to be destroyed. Let's see why we were sold to the nations.
But because ye moved God to wrath, and ye were delivered unto the enemies.
See that? Go ahead, read on.
Verse 7. For ye provoked him that made you by sacrificing unto devils, and not to God.
See that? And that was Baruch in the Apocrypha, chapter 4, verses 6 and 7. The Most High sold us to these nations, man. You breaking the commandments, this is the result of you breaking the commandments. You in Babylon because you broke the commandments. You was taken on slave ship because you broke the commandments. You was raped, robbed, and murdered because you broke the commandments. You was exploited. You was abused and misused, blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, because you broke the commandments. Man, these heathens know that. You would never know that until you find out who you are. You black people are the real Jews the Bible speaks of, and you Native Americans and you Hispanics, you are the Israelites. You're not going to know what's happening to you until you identify your nationality and your heritage. Bring it out.
Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse 44. He shall lend to thee, and thou shalt not lend to him. He shall be the head, and thou shalt be the tail.
The Most High tells the Israelites that your enemy was going to end up being the head, and that you Israelites, you was going to be in the back of the line. You was going to be the tail. That's why it's so important to keep the commandments. That's why it's so important to keep the commandments, because keeping the commandments would have never got you in the position of being the tail. You would have remained being the head. But you broke the commandments. You didn't listen to the Heavenly Father. You don't even know you're the Israelites. When you don't even know you're the Israelites, you can't keep no commandments at all. You can't keep commandments until you identify that you're an Israelite. Once you identify that you're an Israelite, then you can line up with some commandments. You can line up with some laws, statutes, and the commandments when you identify that you're an Israelite. You can't do that if you don't know who you are. You're going to forever remain in your captivity because you don't know who you are. Because a lot of our people are the walking dead, man. And they're not even trying to find out who they are. So your enemy is going to continue to oppress you and rule over you. Proverbs 21:16.
Proverbs chapter 21 and verse 16. The man that wandereth out of the way of understanding shall remain in the congregation of the dead.
Now, who wandered out the way of understanding? You blacks, Hispanics, Latinos, Native Americans. You wandered out the way of understanding. What is understanding? The commandments, keeping these laws, statutes, and commandments. Proverbs 21:16 say you wanna go outside the way of understanding. It says you're gonna remain in the what?
In the congregation of the dead.
You're gonna remain in the congregation of the dead. So basically, a lot of our people are already dead. They are spiritually dead. Even though they are physically alive, they are spiritually dead. They haven't renewed their spirits. They haven't renewed their minds. They are spiritually dead. They don't know who they are. And so therefore, they remain in the congregation of the dead. Give me what we went over earlier in Isaiah when it said they remain in the graves. You got to understand that you're an Israelite to understand the oppression of the so-called white man, which are these Edomites. Isaiah 65, verse 4. Read that. Start with Isaiah 65, verse 3.
Isaiah chapter 65 and verse 3. A people that provoking me to anger continually to my face.
The Most High say, you blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, which are the Israelites, you keep pissing him off. You keep provoking him to anger continually. You're doing this thing consistently. He says they continually provoke me to anger to my face. Read on out.
They're sacrificing in gardens.
They sacrifice in gardens. Today's gardens are the modern day churches. These pagan temples. They sacrifice in gardens. Read on.
And burning incense upon altars of brick.
And they burning incense upon altars of brick. And you do that today in the church. You blacks, Hispanics, Latinos, and Native Americans. Isaiah 65 verse 4. Watch this.
Isaiah chapter 65 and verse 4. Which remain among the graves and lodge in monuments.
Which remain among the what?
Which remain among the graves.
Blacks, Hispanics, Latinos, and Native Americans, you are spiritually dead. You are the walking dead. You remain among the graves. You don't like to be edified. You don't like to come out from among, the gutters. You like to be dumbfounded. You like that. You don't want to come from among the graves. You remain among the graves. Because when we try to tell you, people that you are the chosen people, and guess what? It goes in one ear, out the other ear. Read on.
Isaiah chapter 65 and verse 4. Which remain among the graves and lodge in the monuments which eat swine's flesh.
You blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans do what?
Which lodge in the monuments which eat swine's flesh.
Which eats what?
Swine's flesh.
Which eat what?
Swine's flesh.
You eat swine's flesh. And eating that pig, you want to eat that old nasty old hog. You want to continue to eat that pig. Eating that pig got all them lashes across your back. Eating that pig got them chains on your wrists and your ankles and on your necks. Eating that pig got you in the cotton fields. Eating that pig got you raped, robbed, and murdered. Eating that pig got you on those cargo slave ships. Eating that pig got you in chattel slavery. Eating that pig got you in over 400 some odd years of captivity. Eating that pig. And you still continue to eat the pig. When God told you not to eat the pig, neither shall you touch the pig. You people don't know who you are, man. You remain among the graves, man. Get over here, man. We operate in order. I haven't told you to move. Get over here. This is why you blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, this is why you in this captivity, man. You want to continue to eat the pig when you still getting, the white man still beating your behind. You still want to eat the pig. You still want to break these commandments. You don't want to keep the Sabbath. When you wake up and you identify who you are, these other nations, they're going to tremble, man. But you got to come from among the graves. And this is what's happening now. Because a lot of you blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, which are the Israelites, you are wakening up. And the devil has come down having great wrath because he know he had but a short amount of time. because our people is waking up. A lot of our people, they still among the graves, but a lot of our people are waking up as well, and I'm going to show you. Go to Revelation 11 chapter.
Revelation chapter 11 and verse 8. And their dead bodies shall lie in the street of the great city.
The great city is America. The dead bodies that's lying in the great city are you blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, which are the Israelites. Go ahead.
Which spiritually is called Sodom and Egypt.
America is spiritually called Sodom because of its homosexual status, LGBT status, and it's called Sodom, and also it's called Egypt because of its bondage. The long history of bondage. America was built off the backs of the blacks and Hispanics. America was built from the blood, sweat, and tears of the blacks and Hispanics and Native Americans. So that's why it's called Sodom and Egypt. Read on.
Which is spiritually called Sodom and Egypt.
That's why they got the pyramid on the back of the dollar bill. Read on.
Where also our Lord was crucified.
And our Lord was crucified here because they gave us a fake image of the Messiah here. They gave us the image of the beast. They told us in America that the Messiah was a white man with blonde hair, blue eyes, and red skin. They didn't give us the Messiah according to the scriptures. Yahweh Shai, the black Messiah, whose hair was wool and skin of brass. They didn't get that to us. They gave us this fictitious blonde hair, blue eyed, red skinned devil. And they told us that it was Jesus Christ. That's how they crucified our Lord in spiritual Egypt. Because they failed to tell us the true Messiah. They failed to tell you Israelites, blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans that Jesus Christ was a Negro. All right? This is Revelation chapter 9. Read chapter 9. Revelation chapter 11, verse 9. Read that.
Revelation chapter 11 and verse 9. And they of the people and kindreds and tongues and nations shall see their dead bodies 3 days and a half.
See? It says, Revelation 11, 9, and they of the people and kindreds and tongues and nations shall see our dead bodies. These heathen nations, man. Most of these heathen nations know we are the chosen. These East Indians, these Arabs, these Africans, these Chinese and Japanese, these same nations over here, they know exactly who we are, but they're not telling us who we are because they can't afford to tell us that we are the chosen seed of Israelites. Because once we find out who we are, they cannot maintain power and control over us. So they saw us spiritually dead, but they failed to edify us to teach us who we are, man. Read on, up.
Revelation chapter 11 and verse 9. And shall not suffer their dead bodies to be put in graves.
Because we're not physically dead. That's why they didn't let our dead bodies to be put in graves, because we're not physically dead, we're spiritually dead. And they know this. We're spiritually dead because we still continue to eat pork, shrimp, crab, and lobster. We still want to continue to break the Sabbath day. We still want to continue to not acknowledge who we are, our nationality. And we still want to continue to live in sin and break the commandments. So that's why they didn't suffer our dead bodies to be put in graves, because we're not physically dead, we are spiritually dead. But there's a process going on as I speak, and this is called a great awakening for the nation of Israel, man. And the white man knows this, the Edomites know this, and so his kingdom has come to an end, brothers and sisters. His power structure has come to a declining point. And it's time for the nation of Israel to rise up to be that holy nation again. And the rest of these heathens, they know that, man. Read on, up.
Revelation chapter 11 and verse 10. And they that dwell upon the earth shall rejoice over them.
They rejoiced over us when we fell as a nation, because our downfall was they come up. When they got us to break these commandments, they got us to detour from our God and our Savior, they rejoiced at our downfall, because it's like when we fell down, we gave them the power to rule over us, to exploit us, to mistreat us, to despitefully misuse us. You understand? We gave these other nations the power when we failed to keeping these commandments. And so as a result, they rejoiced at our downfall, man. Read up.
And make merry, and shall send gifts one to another.
They made merry over the blacks, Hispanics, Latinos, and Native Americans. They toast over this, man. Read.
Because these two prophets tormented them tormented them that dwell on the earth.
Because we tormented these heathens, man. In the beginning of time, we didn't play with these heathens. As the nation of Israel, man, they knew when we came through. They knew. These heathens was fearful when we came through, man. When we was ruling as kings and queens. When we had that power and that structure. When we ruled as kings and queens of the nation of Israel, these heathens feared us, man. Because we tormented them. But now you understand, they don't feel like we're a threat because we remain among the graves and we sleep. We breaking the commandments, but when we start keeping these commandments and we start returning back to these covenants, you understand, these nations, these heathen nations, they're gonna go to quaking again. They're gonna go to shivering and shaking again. Read on.
Revelation chapter 11 and verse 11. And after 3 days and a half.
3 days and a half is approximately 350 years to 400 years. Basically talking about the timeline of our captivity. You might as well say 300 maybe to 400 years. 3 days and a half is 350 years. I'm just going to extend it to 400 because we've been over here maybe more than 400 some odd years. Read on.
It says, and after 3 days and a half, the Spirit of life from God entered into them. See that?
Because that's the Most High restoring us back into this truth. That's the Most High giving us back His laws, statutes, and His commandments. That's the Most High waking the blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans up. That's the Most High waking His children up and letting them know that they are not niggers. They are not black people. They are not African Americans, but they are the real Jews. They are not Hispanics. They are not Native Americans, but they are the Israelites from the house of Israel, the chosen people. So blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans are waking up in the last days. And the other nations, they are afraid of this because they thought that they can keep us down. But the Most High restored us in this truth, you understand? He restored us in this truth, man. Revelation 11:11. And after 3 days and a half, the Spirit of God entered into them, and they stood upon their feet, and great fear fell upon them which saw them. Because the other nations, they scared as hell now. Because they know that we rising up, and they know soon as we return back into these commandments and keep these laws, they going in captivity. They know that. They going in chains, man. They know that. The Spirit of God entered back into them, just like Ezekiel the 37th chapter, dealing with the valley of the dry bones. How the breath of life came back into those carcasses in the valley of Ezekiel in the 37th chapter. This is what's happening now. The breath of life is coming back into us, which are the commandments, and we are rising up like those carcasses in the valley of Ezekiel, man. You understand? Give me Psalms 23. The Most High is restoring His soul. The Most High is restoring our soul, man. In verse 3. Psalms 23, verse 3. Watch this.
Psalms chapter 23 and verse 3. He restored my soul.
What David said?
He restored my soul.
David said in Psalms 23 that the good Lord, the God of Israel, in Christ, restored his soul, man. This is what He's doing to us. Restoring our soul back into this truth. Back into our nationality. Back into our heritage. Back into our God. Back to our language. Back to our homeland. He restoring our soul as I speak. He's restoring the soul of the blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. And the so-called white man, he's nervous now. These Edomites that been running this world, because you've been running this world for a long time. You understand? You have had us under your subjection for a long time. Now he's getting nervous because now the Israelite soul are being restored. They know who they are. We know we ain't black people no more. We are the Jews the Bible speaks of. They know they ain't Native Americans no more. They know they the Israelites. They know they ain't a bunch of Mexicans and Puerto Ricans and Cubans no more. They know they the Israelites that the Bible speaks of. And this devil is scared, man. He's scared, man. Because the Most High is restoring our soul. Psalms 23 verse 3.
Psalms chapter 23 and verse 3. He restored my soul. He leaded me in the path of righteousness for His name's sake. He
leads me in the path of righteousness for His name's sake. The path of righteousness is keeping these commandments. Give me Romans 10 and 5. That's the path of righteousness. Because He's leading the blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans in the path of righteousness. He's restoring them to the commandments, man. Romans 10 and 5. Read up.
Romans chapter 10 and verse 5. For Moses described the righteousness which is of the law.
Moses described the righteousness which is of the what?
which is of the law.
So the righteousness is the law, and he's leading us in the path of righteousness for his name's sake. He's returning us back to these laws, statutes, and the commandments. You understand? He's taking those bandanas off the brothers in the streets. You understand? He's taking those pistols from the brothers in the streets. They don't no longer want to gang bang. They don't no longer want to be affiliated with gang-related activity. They don't no longer want to be deadbeat dads. Now these brothers want to step up and be men of the Lord. You know what I'm saying? They went from selling dope on the block to preaching and teaching on the block. You understand? Our women, they went from whoring on the block, you understand, to supporting their brothers that preach and teach on the block. You understand? The white man have thought of all kind of ways to keep us down and keep us oppressed as a nation of people. These Edomites, they never had no love for us, man. But now the Most High restoring his soul on his children, and these nations are scared, man. These nations are scared, man. Revelation 11 and 18. Read.
Revelation chapter 11 and verse 18. And the nations were angry, and thy wrath is come, in the time of the dead that they should be judged.
In the time of the dead that they should be judged. These nations are angry with us, man. Because we telling them that they going into slavery, man. We telling all you heathens. We telling all, anybody that's not black, Hispanic, and Native American descent, if you're not an Israelite and keeping these commandments, you understand? If you're not an Israelite and keeping these commandments, you are the Gentiles and the heathens that the Bible speaks of. And you're going into slavery and captivity. The white man is going into slavery. The Edomites, the Bible speaks of. The Chinese is going into slavery. The Moabites that the Bible speaks of. The Ammonites is going into slavery. The Japanese that the Bible speaks of. The Hamites are going into slavery. The Africans that the Bible speaks of. All you nations are going into slavery, man. And we out here basically we preaching and teaching this truth. You understand? We out here proclaiming this truth to let you know that you heathens are going into slavery for what you did to the nation of Israel. You understand? We broke the commandments, and the Most High allowed you heathens to do that to us. But as a result, in return, you're going to go into slavery, man. Revelation 11 and verse 18. And the nations were angry, and the wrath is come in the time of the dead that they should be judged. You see what I'm saying? And that they should give reward unto thy servants, the prophets, and to the saints, and them that fear the name, small and great, and should it destroy them, will destroy the earth, man. So guess what, man? This is the point in time that the nations are angry with us. Because we telling them you can't be saved unless you're Israelite. So all the other nations are angry with us now. And we also proclaiming your judgment. Give me Joel the 3rd chapter. Give me Joel the 3rd chapter,
Joel chapter 3 and verse 2. I will also gather all nations.
The Most High say he's going to round all you heathens nations up to pay you back. Go ahead.
And will bring them down in the valley of Jehoshaphat.
The valley of Jehoshaphat is also known as the valley of decision, where World War III would take place. Go ahead.
And will plead with them.
And I will plead with them because the Most High going to judge you heathen nations on what you did to the children of Israel. Read on.
Therefore, for my people and for my heritage Israel.
For my people and my heritage Israel. The Most High say you heathens going to get judged. Read on.
Whom thou hast scattered among the nations and parted my land.
Because you parted the land of Jerusalem. You parted the land of Israel. Israel is that's why they call it Palestine Israel. Because the Palestinians cultivate one part and the Israelis cultivate one part. You took over the Most High's land with despiteful minds. The Most High's going to judge all you heathen nations for what you did to his children, man. As soon as we return back to these commandments. All right, now skip down. Now, read Joel chapter 3, verse 9.
Joel chapter 3 and verse 9. Proclaim ye this among the Gentiles.
The Most High told us to proclaim this among the Gentiles. The Most High said, proclaim this among the Gentiles. Joel 3 and 9. Proclaim this among the Gentiles. Prepare war. Wake up the mighty man. Let all the men of war draw near and let them come up. So the Most High in Joel 3 and 9 tells us to proclaim this among the Gentiles. Proclaim what? Give me Joel 3 and 8. What it says.
Joel chapter 3 and verse 8.
Uh-huh.
And I will sell your sons and your daughters.
The Most High said, you sold all sons and daughters. The white man, which you Edomites, and the rest of you heathens. You sold all sons and daughters. The Most High said in Joel 3 and 8, he says what?
And I will sell your sons and daughters.
And I will sell your sons and daughters. Your sons and daughters are going in captivity. Your sons and daughters are going in chains. The Most High says that he's going to sell your daughters into the hand of the children of who?
Of Judah.
Into the hand of the children of who?
Of Judah.
So guess what? You did it to us. The Most High says he's going to sell your sons and your daughters. That's why these other nations are mad. That's why in Revelation 11 and 18 it says the nations were angry. Because we are proclaiming that all of you Gentiles, you heathens, you are going into slavery for what you did to the children of Israel. And you only put us in slavery and servitude because we broke the law, statutes, and commandments. You understand? The Most High is putting us back in remembrance. Just like the book of Jude says. Ain't that Jude 1 and 5? Get Jude, the book of Jude, right before Revelation. Then the Most High said that he's going to put the nation of Israel back in their remembrance. We're going to know all this stuff. Because the Most High is going to restore it to us. Jude 1 and 5, bring it out.
Jude chapter 1 and verse 5.
Uh-huh.
I will therefore put you in remembrance, though ye once knew this, how that the Lord, having saved the people out of the land of Egypt, afterward destroyed them that believed not.
You see that? So the Most High say he's going to put us back in remembrance. Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, you all going to know eventually that you are the chosen seed, that you are the Israelites. And the heathens all going to know that they are the deceivers of the earth and they was always your enemies from the get-go. They was never your friends. The Most High is going to restore all things back to his original state. So we got to keep these laws, statutes, and commandments. Brothers and sisters, we got to walk in these commandments. That's the only way we're gonna get out of this captivity, man. We got to walk in these commandments. You understand? Because the Most High chose us. The Most High served us from all these other nations. All right, go ahead and bring that out.
Leviticus chapter 20 and verse 26.
Uh-huh.
And ye shall be holy unto me, for I am the Lord. For I, the Lord, am holy and have served you from other people.
So the Most High say he served us from other people. When you serve something, you split something, you separate it. You understand? You depart it. You split it down. When you serve something, you split it down, you divide it. The Most High say he did what?
It says
Leviticus, go ahead.
Leviticus chapter 21 and verse 26. And ye shall be holy unto me, for I, the Lord, am holy, and have served you from other people, that ye should be mine.
The Most High say he served us from the other nations that we should be his. So look, we are not the same, man. Because the Most High, he served the nation of Israel from all the other nations, so we are not the same. Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, we are the chosen seed. We are the descendants of Jacob. We are the Most High's chosen. Salvation belongs to the Israelite nation. You understand? And he served us. Serving us means to separate. Now, when you look at the word holy, holy means to be set apart. So the Most High, he served us. You understand? From the other nations, man. We was never supposed to be like these other nations. But when we wanted to be like the other nations, the Most High allowed the other nations to take us in servitude and slavery, man. So, guys, I hope you was edified with this lesson on today. Solid Foundation Israelite Academy. We say Shabbat Shalom. We give double honors to the elders, salutations to the Akim. Double honors. Like I said, salutations to the Akim and the brothers. Teaching this truth throughout the four corners, edifying the lost sheep, which are the blacks, Hispanics, Latinos, and Native Americans. We say death to you 2/3, death to America. All pieces and blessings be upon the elect of the nation of Israel. And last but not least, we give all praises and glorification to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai. Who got next?
We got next.
Who got next?
We got next.
For how long?
Forever.
For how long?
Forever.
What we gonna do?
Take the kingdom.
What we gonna do?
Take the kingdom.
When?
Now.
When?
Now.
How? Yahweh Shimei Shai, man, who the world calls Jesus Christ, which is a black man. He's coming back to judge America the Great, Babylon, man. And you heathens, you going into slavery, man. Let me bring that out before we close it out. I forgot to get that verse in Psalms where it says they shall bind their kings with fetters of iron. Man, you heathens going into slavery, man. The so-called white man, which are the Edomites, the Chinese, Japanese, and the rest of you heathens, you're going into slavery, man. While they in them Christian church, they up in the Christian church telling you that we are all alike and that we are all going to be rejoicing together in Christ. That's a damn lie, man. You heathens going into slavery, man. Bring that out.
Psalms chapter 149 and verse 7.
This is the last book, chapter and verse. Psalms 149, verse 7. Come on.
To execute vengeance upon the heathen.
To execute vengeance upon you heathen. All right?
And punishments unto the people.
And punishments unto the people. Come on.
Psalms chapter 149 and verse 8. To bind their kings with chains.
To bind their kings with what?
With chains.
To bind their kings with what?
With chains.
No, to play with their kings together.
To bind their kings with chains.
To laugh and converse with their kings.
To bind their kings with chains. And their nobles with fetters of iron.
And their nobles with fetters of iron. What is that? Slavery, servitude. You understand? Go ahead.
And verse 9. To execute upon them the judgment written. This honor have all his saints. Praise ye the Lord.
So we're going to execute upon you heathens the judgment that's written in this book. To honor, have all the saints, and praise be Yahweh by Shimei Shai. That was Psalms 149, verses 7 through 9. We're going to execute vengeance on you heathens, and we're going to put chains on you, man. You understand? They ain't telling you about that in these spiritual religions. These religious institutions, they not telling you about none of that, man. We come out and proclaim the truth because the Most High told us to come out by the hedges, the highways, and the byways. That's the nation of Israel, and compel all people. So if you don't want to listen, you don't want to get with the program, man, death to y'all, man. You understand? May you die horrible judgment through the spirit and power of Yahweh by Hashem, Yahushua.